He is energetic, he is crazy, but most importantly, he loves his company.
I have 4 words for you. I love this company. Yeah!
On July 7th, 2021, Steve Ballmer's net worth officially exceeded $100 billion. He became the ninth person to reach this milestone. But the only thing that sets him apart from others on the list, he didn't start a big company like Amazon, Tesla, or LVMH. He didn't make any kind of investment to increase his wealth like Bitcoin in 2009 or Amazon during the internet bubble burst. Steve Anthony Ballmer was born on March 24, 1956 in Detroit, Michigan. Although he has never founded his own company, he was intellectually capable of doing so. He graduated from Detroit Country Day School and became a valedictorian. With 800 points in the math of SAT, he is a national outstanding scholar. In 1973, he entered Harvard to study applied mathematics and economics. During college, Steve was the manager of Harvard Crimson football team. But most importantly, he made a counter genius there, Bill Gates. And Steve both were relatively of same age and had developed a good bond between them. Bill even asked Steve to drop out and find Microsoft with him. But Steve chose a safer path. In the following years, Bill and Steve took two different paths. Bill chose Microsoft and Steve continues his studies. In 1977, Steve graduated with magna cum laude from Harvard University with BA in Applied Mathematics and Economics. Magna cum laude is a Latin word that means to be highly praised. After graduating from Harvard, he worked as an assistant product manager at Procter & Gamble for 2 years. He was bored there, so in search of a sense of accomplishment, he went to Hollywood and became a screenwriter. After a while, he realized that he was unfit for it and returned. He then joined Stanford University to study business. In 1980, Steve approached Bill for a summer job. Instead, Bill asked him to drop out and join Microsoft to become its first full-time manager. Steve had a degree from Harvard University, few years of work experience, and only 1 year left at MBA at Stanford University. Even if Microsoft fails, it is not difficult for him to find a high-paying job. Steve accepted the offer. The same offer he rejected 5 years ago. Steve joined Microsoft on June 11, 1980 and became Microsoft's 30th employee. But his parents were not satisfied with his decision. But this didn't stop from joining. Steve was promised an annual salary of $50,000 and 5 to 10% stake in the company. On the surface, Steve was Microsoft's business manager, but in reality, he was Bill's personal assistant. From recruiting new employees, cooking, to washing bottles, he did it all. In 1980, Microsoft and IBM held a defining meeting. Bill invited Steve to join because he was the only person in the group who knew how to tie a tie. But it turns out that including Steve was a game-changing decision. They were able to include a clause in the deal that ultimately saved Microsoft. This clause was non-exclusivity. IBM will pay Microsoft $430,000 to develop MS-DOS. But because the deal is non-exclusive, Microsoft may sell it to other computer manufacturers. At that time, IBM was the subject of monopoly investigation, so they decided to accept the clause. The same investigation that would later force Microsoft to rescue Apple. Between 1981 and 1985, Bill Gates worked on the technical side of MS-DOS, while Steve worked on the commercial side, selling it to various computer manufacturers. During this period, Microsoft's revenue increased from $16 million to $140 million. Steve was indeed a good addition to the team. So Bill kept his promise and gave 8% of the company's share to Steve. In 1986, Microsoft went public. It was valued at 780 million US dollars. Because Bill holds 45% of the Microsoft share, he was valued at $350 million. Paul Allen's 25% stake is valued at $195 million, and Steve was valued at $62 million. From 1986 to 1992, Steve led many departments and held management and leadership positions. In 1992, he held an administrative positions for the first time. He was the vice president of sales and support. After successfully serving there, he was promoted to president in July 1998, making him a second in command to Bill Gates. In January 2000, Bill Gates resigned as CEO of Microsoft and Steve took over. Steve Ballmer is considered one of the worst CEO of major companies. For example, the stock price stagnated throughout his tenure, and some of his goofy moments, such as repeating the same word many times.
Developers, 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 developers. Yes!
Getting ballistic on stage. Or his comments when Apple launched the iPhone.
$500 fully subsidized with a plan? I said, that is the most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customers because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not a very good email machine. Now,
but Steve is just not limited to this. Bill Gates left Microsoft in its prime. Just 2 months after Bill left, the dot-com bubble burst. Microsoft's stock price fell from $58 to $21. When they rallied again, the 2008 crash fell on them. The share price plummeted to $15 a share. Despite oppositions from many executives, Steve stood for the idea of Xbox. Today, Xbox is one of Microsoft's most successful products. Similarly, Microsoft launched its Azure Cloud Services in 2010. It is the project that has allowed Microsoft to grow exponentially in the last 5 years. During Steve's tenure as CEO, Microsoft revenue increased from $25 billion to $70 billion, and its profit from $9.5 billion US dollars to $22 billion US dollars. Investors didn't realize Steve's influence until he left in 2014. For the past few years, Steve has been selling stocks. Today, he owns about 4% of Microsoft's share, more than that of Bill Gates. Had he had not sold them, he would have been valued at $175 billion, making him richer than Bill Gates. But had Bill never sold his shares in Microsoft, today he would have been valued at $980 billion, on the brink of being world's first trillionaire. Nevertheless, the passion that Steve showed in those stages was real. It was his passion, his love for the company he worked, and that's what made him valued at $100 billion.